Clustering in standalone mode. I'm going to show you how to set up a cluster of two nodes in standalone mode. I'm running the two nodes on separate hosts. Here's host 1 and its IP address ending in 228. So I'll start in standalone mode on this node. Notice that I'm using the standalone HA profile. It contains the subsystems required for clustering. I'll also have to bind to the external NIC so that the other node can access this node. I'm also specifying the JBoss node name, which is not strictly required because if you don't specify it, it'll use the host name of the host. The other thing I'm doing is I'm specifying a multicast address. This is the default multicast address, so it's not strictly required either. However, if you're running multiple clusters on a network, you'll have to make them unique by specifying the multicast address. So let me start this node. While it's starting, I'll switch to the second node and start it as well. This is the same, only I've changed the bind address to be this machine's NIC, 29 address, which is listed here, and I've changed the node name to node 2. If I switch back to node 1, I can see that it started. Now, it hasn't actually formed a cluster yet because the clustering subsystems haven't started. I have to deploy a clustered web application before the HTTP sessions are replicated, and in order to do that, the JBoss instance have to form a cluster. So if I have a look at a clustered web application, which I've written here, clustered web app, in the webinf web XML has this distributable tag. So if I deploy this application by copying it from my Mac onto first node 228, I should see it deployed in the log. There it is being deployed, and here's where my clustering subsystems begin to start. So this line indicates it's starting up the clustering subsystems, and so this line from JGroups saying that it's received a new cluster view, and at the moment there's only one node in the cluster. But if I go ahead and copy my clustered application to the other node, whose IP address is ending in 29, if I watch its log, you can see the deployment is started, the clustering subsystems are started, then you can see we've received a new cluster view, and this time there's two members in the cluster. It's important to note that in standalone mode, you'll have to copy the clustered application to both nodes in two separate operations, but if I was running in domain mode, I'll be able to use a single farm deploy method to deploy to both nodes simultaneously with one operation. So that's how to set up a cluster of two nodes in standalone mode.